Sunlight poured over the grand and majestic architecture of the Eastern Palace. High above on the golden throne sat Empress Yenni, her expression cold as she spoke. "Are you all trying to pressure me?" A court official below bowed deeply and replied, "Your Majesty, that is absolutely not the case." Raising his head, he continued, "That Lang Tu-Du is just a mere mortal. How can someone like him be worthy of your Majesty? Moreover, he's completely useless and unable to cultivate. If your Majesty must choose a husband, then surely it should be someone else." Yenni's face darkened, and she fell silent as the official continued, "The son of General Ve Quan, Ve Tuan La, is on the Dragon Phoenix list, just like your Majesty. A man of his talent is far more deserving." Before he could finish, Yenni glared down at him, her eyes sharp. "I am issuing an imperial decree," she declared, stepping down from the throne. "This is not a negotiation." The officials immediately dropped to their knees, heads bowed. Yet the same official dared to speak again. "Your Majesty, please reconsider." Yenni slowly descended the steps and said coldly, "Do you intend to rebel? Immediately go to the National Advisor's residence." Under the overwhelming authority of the Empress, the elderly official trembled, bowing his head in fear, unable to utter another word. Yenni strode forward along the red carpet, parting the officials like a tide, her voice ringing out, "Who dares to stand in my way? Kill them without mercy." The scene shifts to a quiet courtyard. Warm sunlight spilled over every branch and leaf. Someone tossed fish food into a pond, thinking to himself, "A useless person who can't cultivate like me. I'm only good for feeding fish and playing with cats." This young man is Lang Tu-Du, the main character of our story. Resting his chin in his hand, he stared lazily at the water and muttered to himself, "Oh father, how could you be so irresponsible? Blinded by lust and shoving some kind of Tao seed into me, what was the point?" He idly tossed more food into the pond, sighing, "You've doomed me to this miserable life." Suddenly, Lang clapped his hands and exclaimed sarcastically, "Oh, thank you so much, father!" A voice rang out in alarm, "Young master! Bad news!" A servant rushed over, shouting, "The daughter of Minister Tran has barged in with General V's eldest son." Lang Tu-Du tossed the fish food plate into the servant's hands and groaned, "It's not even a holiday. What are they doing here?" In the pond, the goldfish scattered as the food stopped coming. Just then, a group barged into the mansion. The doors flew open with a loud bang. A young woman stormed in, shouting, "Lang Tu-Du! You lowly mortal! How dare you have designs on me? You even dared to insult my honor." This was Tran-On, daughter of the Minister of Rights. She pointed an accusing finger at him and demanded, "Kneel now and admit your mistake." Next to her stood Ve Tuan Thursday, the eldest son of General V. He added smugly, "If you kneel and apologize to On, maybe I'll spare your life and let you clean toilets in our mansion." Lang Tu-Du's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. "Ah, I was wondering who it was. Turns out it's Miss Tran, who just yesterday put on such a nauseating performance in front of me that I ended up vomiting all over the place." At his words, the two looked at each other with uncomfortable expressions. Lang crossed his arms and asked coldly, "Are you both confused? You barged into the royal advisor's mansion, and now you expect me to apologize." The subordinates quickly formed a circle around Lang Tu-Du. Ve Tuan Thursday stepped forward and sneered, "You still think your father is here to protect you? Even if the royal advisor's mansion were torn down today, no one would bat an eye." With a smirk, he continued, "If you refuse to admit your wrongdoing," he suddenly shifted to a serious tone, frowning, "then I'll beat the truth out of you." Lang raised one hand, scanning the group with a mocking expression. "You're all so petty," he said flatly. Ve Tuan Thursday's face twisted with rage. "Beat him to death." At his command, a thug lunged at Lang, fist raised. But Lang dodged effortlessly, spun around, and delivered a sharp kick that launched the attacker into the nearby lake. Grinning with satisfaction, Lang turned to face the rest and boldly raised his middle finger. Didn't expect this young master to be so nimble, did you? You really think a few pathetic thugs like you are enough to take me down? Infuriated, V. Tuan Thursday roared, "You worthless trash, all of you! Get him!" The lackeys rushed forward. One struck Lang in the face with a club, blood spurting from his mouth. The group piled on, hitting and kicking as Lang curled up, shielding his head. Through gritted teeth, he cursed silently, "Damn it! My frail body is holding me back again. Father, you've really left me in a mess." Suddenly, something inside his chest began to stir. A golden glow lit up from his heart, and a small sprout-like light slowly emerged from within. Lang clenched his teeth, trying to endure the pain, unaware that his body was beginning to release spiritual energy. Unexpectedly, he let out a scream, blood gushing from his mouth. The golden glow from his heart intensified, energizing every cell in his body. Comprehending First Emperor Martial Art, Luan Leg Technique. Initial Comprehension. Intermediate Comprehension. Perfect Comprehension. Lang was knocked backward, blood spraying everywhere. Yet, his body entered another phase of resonance. Tiger Form Fist Technique. First Emperor Martial Art. Initial Comprehension. Intermediate Comprehension. Perfect Comprehension. The glowing sprout in his chest flared brightly. Lang felt a powerful force rushing through his veins. "What's going on?" he thought. "Why is this power still growing inside me?" His eyes focused weakly on the attackers in front of him. "Isn't the Tiger Form Fist General vs exclusive technique? How did I just comprehend it?" The thugs prepared to stomp him again, but suddenly, Lang's eyes snapped open. A chilling aura flickered within them. Clenching his fist tightly, he sprang up and punched the nearest thug square in the chest. The blow was overwhelming. With a scream of agony, the attacker was flung far back. Lang stared at his own fist, now swollen and red, barely able to believe what had just happened. Did I really use Tiger Form Fist? Was that comprehension real? V. Tuan Thursday, watching from the side, narrowed his eyes. "Not bad for a counterattack. I didn't expect a mortal like you to wield martial techniques with such skill. I clearly underestimated you." But even as he spoke, he gathered force into the folding fan in his hand. In a flash, he dashed toward Lang and struck him hard, sending him crashing to the ground. Though Lang Tu-Du was struck hard, his spirit didn't falter. Instead, his body reacted strongly to the blow, initiating a resonance with the three emperors' martial art. Heavenly Tiger Fist. 1 part comprehension. 2 parts comprehension. Insufficient strength, unable to reach perfect comprehension. Spiritual energy absorption required. Struggling to rise, Lang thought to himself, "So, even with this level of comprehension, my own strength has to support it if I want to perfect it. But in this state, that's nearly impossible." His face twisted with unwillingness. "Looks like I'll have to hold out until the Tiger Cavalry returns." Meanwhile, on the other side of the courtyard, Tran On threw herself into V. Tuan Thursday's arms with a flattering smile. "Brother Tuan Thursday, you're so powerful." He returned her smile and asked casually, "Sister On, how do you want to deal with him?" Tran Anna's expression turned cold as she glared at Lang. In a chilling voice she said, "This worthless trash dared to insult me. Cut off his limbs and feed him to the dogs." Hearing her command, V. Tuan Thursday raised his hand and motioned for his men to carry out her order. But just then, a powerful figure appeared at the entrance, Empress Yen Ni. She stepped into the courtyard and declared firmly, "The ones who'll be fed to the dogs. Are you? How dare you lay a hand on my man?" Everyone froze. Tran On, startled, glanced behind Lang. Even Lang himself turned toward the door in disbelief. V. Tuan Thursday and Tran On were both stunned, their mouths agape in shock. Empress Yen Ni strode into the royal advisor's mansion, flanked by a squad of imperial soldiers. Her voice thundered across the courtyard. "How dare you be so arrogant? Did you think I was dead? The moment they saw her, Tran On and V Tuan Thursday dropped to their knees, trembling as they cried out, "Your Majesty!" But Yen Ni's fury had reached its peak. Spiritual energy exploded from her body, slamming the two of them onto the floor. "Get out!" she roared. Lang Tu-Du coughed up blood as he struggled to stay upright, bruised and bleeding. He looked at Yen Ni with concern and said weakly, "Your Majesty. You shouldn't have come. It'll only invite more rumors." Yen Ni quickly rushed to his side and supported him, her face full of worry. "Brother Lang, I don't care what others say. In this life, I will only marry you." Her expression suddenly turned ice-cold as she looked at the people before her. With a voice like thunder, she declared, "Anyone who dares harm him, I will wipe out your entire clan." Her spiritual energy surged outward like a storm. The force tore through the clothes of the two kneeling figures, who screamed in fear and begged for mercy. "Your Majesty, please spare us." But Tran On, still defiant, raised her voice in protest. "How could your Majesty do this? I'm the daughter of the Minister of Rights. And I'm an outer disciple of the Loi On Sect. How can you punish us so harshly over a useless man?" Yen Ni, hearing the bold challenge, stood up slowly, her hand clenched tightly as waves of power rippled around her. Tran On and V Tuan Thursday felt a surge of killing intent wash over them. Their faces instantly went pale. Yen Ni released a surge of spiritual energy as she ascended into the air, her expression cold and voice sharp as ice. "Are you threatening me?" Just then, Lang Tu-Du raised his hand, gently stopping her. "Your Majesty, don't use your primordial energy. It might trigger your cold vein constitution." Startled, Yen Ni immediately pulled back her energy to avoid harming him. Lang continued firmly, "In my life, I will never hide behind a woman. Let me handle this." With a confident smile, he steadied himself and declared with unwavering determination, "3 days from now I'll return the humiliation they gave me with my own hands." Yen Ni, worried, called out anxiously, "Brother Lang Tu-Du." But Lang gave her a playful grin and a thumbs up, signaling that he'd be fine. About half an hour later, in the back garden of the National Advisor's mansion, Lang sat quietly, deep in thought. Despite being beaten earlier by V Tuan Thursday and his group, something strange had happened. He had gained sudden clarity and insight into the martial techniques they used. It was the enlightenment seed inside his body, it had awakened. He could feel a mysterious force inside him, like a magnetic pull, absorbing spiritual energy around him at an incredible rate. Sitting cross-legged by the pond, Lang began to cultivate. Rich streams of spiritual energy rushed into his body. Sensing the immense aura radiating from him, Yen Ni gasped in amazement. "Oh my goodness! Brother Lang Tu-Du! Is this finally a breakthrough?" His energy is still rising. The spiritual force entering from his heart coursed throughout his entire body. Lang closed his eyes, deeply immersed in the sensation. "This feels incredible." His once crippled body now surged with power. His consciousness dove deep into his dantian, where waves of spiritual energy roared like a storm. "This is my dantian? It's actually solidified like this?" At this moment, Lang had reached the first stage of martial cultivation, chi refinement, foundation establishment realm. But it wasn't over. The enlightenment seed continued to activate. Inside his dantian, 2 streams of energy, one blue and one yellow, spiraled and merged into a towering spiritual pillar that lifted Lang into the air. His eyes snapped open, glowing with radiant light. Spiritual energy surged outward, and he now sat on a stone in the middle of the pond. The pond's surface churned violently beneath him. Then, breakthrough after breakthrough began. From foundation establishment first level, he rocketed through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It didn't stop. He pushed through the 6th, 7th, and 8th levels. The energy emanating from his body began to take shape, like ethereal vines stretching out into the air. Then came the 9th level, The spiritual power exploded like a soaring dragon, spiraling into the sky. All across the pond, the lotus flowers shimmered and transformed, each petal turning into a glowing golden hue. Nearby, Yenni stared in shock. Brother Lang Tu-Du, you actually broke through 9 levels in a row? Lang, overwhelmed with joy, thought, this time, I'm going to win. From now on, I, Lang Tu-Du, will no longer be anyone's punching bag. Enlightenment seed. Don't stop. Let's keep pushing forward. In the city, everyone noticed the dazzling beam of energy stretching into the heavens. Heavens! A divine phenomenon. Is a sacred treasure appearing? Or is a heavenly origin body being born? People pointed toward the light. That direction. It's the National Advisor's mansion. Real or not, we have to see it for ourselves. If there's even a sliver of opportunity there, we can't miss it. As the brilliant pillar of spiritual light pierced the sky, cultivators from all the major factions immediately took flight, heading toward its source. Within the National Advisor's mansion, Yenni stood firm and issued a commanding order. Imperial Guards, hear me. No one is allowed to approach. Anyone who disobeys, behead them on the spot. The soldiers responded in unison, Yes, Your Majesty. Half an hour later, 2 neat rows of Imperial Guards stood vigil outside Lang Tu-Du's room. Inside, Lang lay with his head resting on Yenni's lap, casually eating grapes while gazing at her face with affectionate intensity. Curious, Yenni asked softly, Brother Lang Tu-Du, what are you doing? Why do you keep staring at me like that? With a cheeky grin, he replied while popping another grape into his mouth, Because you're beautiful. Suddenly, Lang sat upright, took her hand in his, and said seriously, Yenni, I want to thank you. You are the rightful Empress of Dongdang, yet for all these years, you've remained by the side of someone who couldn't even give you proper companionship. Like me. Yenni's cheeks flushed as she smiled shyly. Lang continued, And you've borne the pressure from the ministers, always defending me. Yenni gently interjected, Brother Lang Tu-Du, the truth is, I've only been able to hold the throne all these years because of you. You've always stood behind me, guiding me, solving one crisis after another. That's how I earned my place. And more importantly, you once saved my life. You are the only man in my heart. Hearing those words, Lang blushed with happiness and gazed at her with deep affection. Suddenly, Yenni collapsed in pain, her entire body radiating a bone-chilling aura as if she were being frozen from within. Panicked, Lang quickly caught her in his arms. No. Damn it. Her cold energy is erupting again. Hang in there, my love, I'll perform acupuncture right away. But Yenni struggled to push him away, curling up and gasping, Don't. Lang Tu-Du, stay away. The cold energy this time is intense, it'll hurt you. Lang gently reassured her, his voice soft but firm. He placed his hand on her chest, feeling the icy energy pulsing violently from within. With tears in her eyes, Yenni cried out, Please. You'll die if you stay near me. Startled by the intensity of the cold energy, Lang withdrew his hand and thought grimly, Damn. She got angry earlier and used her vital energy. That must have triggered this outbreak of her cold vein. Without hesitation, he wrapped his arms around her tightly and said, Yenni, it's okay. I'm here. Just hold on. I'll use acupuncture to help suppress the cold. The icy energy began to surge into Lang's arms, quickly turning them numb. He stared in disbelief as frost crept across his skin. This outbreak. It's worse than before. Seeing that Lang was being consumed by the cold, Yenni desperately tried to retract the energy. No. I won't let it hurt you, come back to me. But just as the cold energy tried to invade deeper into Lang's body, something inside him pushed back. He looked down at his glowing hands and realized in astonishment, it's the enlightenment seed. It's helping me resist the cold. At that moment, Yenni had completely exhausted her strength and was on the verge of losing consciousness. Panicked, Lang Tu-Du shouted, Not good! Yenni, wake up, quickly! The cold energy was intensifying, rapidly spreading throughout the entire room. Lang hurried to her side, grabbing her hand tightly. Yenni, hold on just a little longer, he pleaded. Without hesitation, he leaned in and began using his mouth to draw out the invading cold energy from her body. As the icy force surged into him again, it triggered another powerful reaction from the enlightenment seed within his core. It began absorbing both the invading energy and his own innate vital essence. Suddenly, the absolute cold vital energy began to condense inside him. Lang leaned in even closer, continuing to extract the cold energy, thinking to himself, I didn't expect this. Yenni's absolute cold energy is merging with my own, it's becoming a part of my true energy. Just then, Yenni's eyes fluttered open. Feeling the sudden shift within her body, she looked passionately at Lang, her gaze burning with intensity. Her luscious red lips slowly moved toward him, and in the next instant she kissed him deeply. Lang's eyes shot open in surprise. But before he could process what was happening, Yenni gently pushed him down onto the bed, climbing atop him with a fevered gaze. Yenni, stop. Wake up, he pleaded, alarmed by her actions. But she leaned in even closer, her cheeks flushed, and whispered softly, I want more. She continued to absorb his vital energy, her expression full of satisfaction. Soft moans escaped her lips as she leaned in again. Lang, now pale and breathing heavily, said with difficulty, Yenni. Enough. You have to clear your mind. Moments later, the room fell eerily silent. Lang stood beside the bed, wiping sweat from his brow. I was almost completely drained. Meanwhile, Yenni lay peacefully, cheeks flushed with a rosy glow and eyes closed, seemingly asleep. Lang sighed in relief, unaware of what had just occurred. Thankfully, I reacted quickly and used the long-lost Hong Dang needle technique. By channeling the power of QAM, I managed to suppress and eliminate the outbreak of extreme cold energy. Yenni now lay face down on the bed, her back embedded with numerous acupuncture needles, each precisely placed to suppress the frenzied energy. Her face twitched briefly in discomfort. Suddenly, a wave of energy surged up from her back, an image formed by the cold energy itself, resembling a majestic ice phoenix. The intense spiritual pressure caused the needles to quiver, some even beginning to lift from her skin. Lang's expression turned serious. Even this ancient acupuncture technique isn't enough. Grabbing another needle, he muttered anxiously, This won't do. Her power is getting stronger each time it flares up. What should I do now? The cold energy kept erupting violently, swirling around Yenni's body like a blizzard, forcing Lang to shield himself with both arms. Damn it! Each outbreak grows more intense. What is this power? Just then, Lang Tudu's body began to transform. As he connected with the ancient Hong Dang needle technique, a flood of understanding poured into him, first 4 parts, then 5, and then perfect comprehension. But it didn't stop there. Suddenly, he also grasped the long-lost 10th and 13th needles of the technique. His body radiated a glowing light. Overwhelmed with excitement, he shouted, What's happening? Even this can be comprehended and upgraded? Enlightenment Seed, you are my God. Staring at the glowing needle in his hand, he laughed with joy. So the Hong Dang needle technique isn't limited to 9 needles. I had only grasped 3 fragments before. But with all 13, and full comprehension, I might really be able to save Yenni. Without hesitation, he focused his energy and began performing the technique, swiftly inserting the needles into Yenni's body. As he worked, his spiritual energy came into contact with the essence of her extreme cold phoenix body. A flash of insight struck him. The phoenix body had flaws. Flaws he could understand and fix. Before his eyes, an ethereal shape appeared, like a small tree trunk. He stared at it in awe. The Enlightenment Seed. It's showing me the way to resolve the flaws in her innate body. Silently, he memorized the revealed method. Refining with Bang Veen Sunstone, Ice Phoenix Crown, 10,000-year Snow Lotus, and Immaculate Snow Spring. The Enlightenment seed suddenly began to glow even brighter. Then, with a final flash, it transformed, its light dimming and concentrating, into a tiny glowing seedling. It's evolving. Is this the path of reverse cultivation? He muttered, astonished. Several hours later, calm had returned. Yenni had regained her strength. She ran over and hugged Lang Tu-Du from behind, her face shy and pink. Big brother Lang Tu-Du. You've saved me again. This time, I can only repay you. With my body. He chuckled, gently patting her head. You've been saying that for years now. Aren't you tired of it yet? Yenni buried her face in his chest, her voice soft and sincere. Until I marry you. I'll never get tired of saying it. For thousands, tens of thousands of years. I only want to marry you. Lang Tu-Du let her rest in his arms and gently stroked her hair. This isn't the time yet. But starting today, the incurable illnesses of both you and me have been cured. Yenni suddenly sat up, eyes wide with surprise. You mean, my extreme cold phoenix body can really be cured? Even the Imperial Medical Institute gave up on it. He sat across from her, placed his hands on her shoulders, and looked into her eyes. Yes, I can cultivate again, and I've found a way to completely resolve the defects in your body. You have to trust me. As he finished, he raised his hand, spiritual energy swirling within it, calm, radiant, and powerful. Seeing the sincere spiritual energy radiating from Lang Tu-Du's hand, Yenni's eyes softened. She gently took his hand and nodded. That's great. I believe in you, Lang Tu-Du big brother. I'll make sure those old fools know you're not some naturally born waste. Night gradually fell, but the lights in Lang Tu-Du's room remained lit. Scattered across the table were open books and handwritten note. Lang sat alone, deep in thought. His eyes lingered on a worn scroll, the weight of years and expectation pressing on his shoulders. He murmured to himself, when Father left, he told me, once you awaken your primordial energy, you'll be able to open the spatial ring. He looked down at the ring on his finger, his voice barely above a whisper. I wonder, what did he leave behind for me? Without delay, he channeled spiritual energy into the ring. A moment later, a faint light flickered as the space within the ring opened. One by one, items began to materialize on the table. Several cloth bags, jade slips, and thick scrolls. Lang looked over them and let out a low breath. So this is what Father left behind. He picked up one of the scrolls and began to read. But before he finished, his lips curled into a smile and he muttered, I didn't expect Father to be so narcissistic. The scroll was filled with bold handwriting and arrogant flair. One line read, If you can't even say the word Father, then that's just hopeless. Lang chuckled. Ha. Sounds just like him. Another line caught his eye. I hope you'll work hard on cultivation. At the very least, reach the 3rd stage of chi condensation so I can brag a little when I'm out in the world. Tears welled in Lang's eyes. He clutched the scroll to his chest and whispered, This really is Father's style. He slumped onto the table, overcome with emotion. His voice trembled as he choked back sobs. He said he left to save Mother. Disappeared for 5 years without a word. And ended up learning secret manuals from who knows where. Truly worthy of being my old man. But come on. Asking only for the 3rd stage of chi condensation? That's underestimating me too much. Suddenly, his sorrow turned to determination. He slammed the table, his eyes filled with fire. Let's see what this 8 Wastelands sacred body technique is all about. The name alone sounds overbearing enough. He opened the manual and began reading. At first, he was skeptical. Humph, maybe it's all bark and no bite. But before he could finish that thought, the characters in the manual shimmered, then slowly rose from the page. One by one, lines of glowing script surged toward his mind like roaring ocean waves, imprinting knowledge directly into his soul. Lang was stunned. This. I've actually comprehended it? The 8 wastelands' sacred body. Dominating the 3 realms, sweeping across the 8 wastelands like an emperor. The enlightenment seed inside his body began to glow wildly. It pulsed rapidly, resonating with the technique and accelerating its growth. The seed connected with the 8 wastelands' sacred body at a mysterious primitive level. But then, he hit a wall. Despite his rapid comprehension, he suddenly found himself unable to go further. Lang frowned. Primitive level. That's not part of any standard classification. Most martial arts are rated from 1 to 10 stars. After that is extreme level. Then epic level. But primitive. He shook his head in disbelief. Normal martial skills can be comprehended instantly once the seed resonates. But this 8 wastelands sacred body technique, could it actually be beyond even the epic level? Just then, golden text appeared before his eyes. Pure elemental energy can be used to upgrade martial skills. Lang's mind raced. Wait. Could it be? Did Father bury true elemental energy beneath the formation? Without another word, he bolted from the room. Moments later, in the backyard of the National Advisor's mansion, the enlightenment seed inside Lang's body pulsed with urgency. It led him toward the lotus pond. He stood before it, wide-eyed. The lotus flowers emitted a faint spiritual glow he had never noticed before. The enlightenment seed floated gently, then extended its light toward the pond. Lang slowly approached, whispering in awe, "I never noticed this before. If it weren't for the enlightenment seed, I still wouldn't have discovered that this pond." He paused, his voice full of realization. "Holds a spirit spring." Lang quickly plunged his hands into the cool water of the pond. Perhaps Father left quite a few good things hidden in the mansion. Without hesitation, he scooped up a mouthful and drank deeply. "I'll drink a bit first, then head inside to explore." At that moment, the enlightenment seed in Lang's body stirred again. Cultivation realm, condensed true stage 5. A soft blue light enveloped Lang's body. Surprised, he exclaimed, "From condensed true stage 1 directly to stage 5? This is incredible!" Time passed swiftly. An hour later, Lang sat silently by the lotus pond, cultivating with a calm and focused mind. Spiritual energy surged through him like a great dragon, continuously flowing into his core. Closing his eyes, Lang concentrated, using the enlightenment seed to absorb the energy. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open in shock as spiritual energy erupted from his body. It transformed into a majestic true dragon that soared into the sky. His cultivation realm had broken through to condensed true stage 9. Feeling the overwhelming changes coursing through him, Lang shouted with excitement, "Just after drinking the spirit spring water and eating those golden lotuses, my 8 wastelands sacred body technique is nearing completion, and my cultivation has skyrocketed to condensed true stage 9. Unable to contain himself, Lang leapt up, releasing a burst of spiritual energy and laughing aloud. "Ha ha ha! It's time to show everyone what I'm truly capable of." The scene shifts to the next morning at the martial arts arena. Yen Ni sat majestically on the golden throne, her expression serious and contemplative. Brother Lang has just awakened his power and started cultivating martial arts. Can he really defeat them today? Below, Jen Tian, Chuncha Yen, and her father knelt respectfully, admitting their guilt. Chuncha Yan's father stepped forward and said with sincerity, "Greetings and blessings to your majesty. I am Tran Mak, Minister of Rights. I brought my daughter here to face punishment." He continued with a tone of integrity, "Your Majesty, I am at fault. I should never have allowed my daughter to barge into the royal advisor's residence. I humbly request your Majesty to punish me." After admitting his guilt, Tran Mak lowered his head in deep thought. His Majesty personally came to the martial arts arena today. I fear he will not easily overlook the matter of KM and Tuan Th barging into the royal advisor's residence. Although she hasn't spoken yet, I will admit fault first to save her face. This way, she may avoid punishment. Yen Ni's cold gaze swept downward, her thoughts sharp as a blade. This old fox dares to play power games right before me. He truly doesn't take me, the Emperor, seriously. After a brief pause, still maintaining her regal composure, Yen Ni spoke clearly. Very well. Tran Mak, you are indeed a clever man. Since you have taken the initiative to admit fault, guards, take Tran Ma out and behead her. Hearing this, Tran Ma gasped in panic. She hid behind her father, crying out, "Father! No, please!" Suddenly, at that tense moment, the mighty General Oi Hung Ba stepped forward. Clasping his hands respectfully, he said, "Your Majesty, please calm your anger. This is merely a conflict between young people, no real harm has been done. They can resolve the matter at the tower." Empress Yen Ni, seated coldly on her throne, replied sharply, "General Oi Vo, you are indeed kind-hearted. But if someone barged into your residence, would you also think it's no big deal?" Oi Hung Ba was momentarily at a loss for words. He glanced back hesitantly at Tran Mak behind him before replying softly. Yen Ni rose from her throne and declared firmly, "For this tower battle, if you, Twandich and Tran Diem, are defeated and killed, it will serve you right." Her gaze was icy. "But if you dare to win, you will be immediately beheaded." Hearing this, Tran Mak screamed in protest, "Your Majesty, I object. If it is as you say, then just kill us now. The Lu Dang sect will surely seek justice for me." Yen Ni, anger flaring at his arrogance, shouted, "You dare use the Lu Dang sect to threaten me? Do you think I won't dare kill you?" As she finished speaking, she waved her hand sharply. A blade of ice shot forth, flying straight toward Tran Mak. Terrified, Tran Mak screamed and stumbled backward, the ice blade stopping just inches from her face. Suddenly, from high above, a figure riding a crane descended gracefully. The voice spoke calmly but firmly, "Your Majesty, please calm your anger. If my disciple has done wrong, I will punish her severely when we return to the Lu Dang sect." Upon hearing this voice, the newcomer's disciple exclaimed excitedly, "Master, you've finally arrived. I've been waiting for so long." The old outer sect elder of the Lu Dang sect, Hak Chan Nian, jumped down from the crane and stroked his beard. "My disciples summoned me, how could I not come to help?" He stepped forward, his eyes fixed on Empress Yen Ni, struggling to suppress inappropriate thoughts. "I've long heard the Empress of Dong Dang is exceptionally beautiful. Now that I see her, the rumors don't even do her justice." Yen Ni stood tall and graceful, looking down with a mixture of charm and loftiness. Hak Chan Nian smiled slyly to himself, thinking, "If only I were the court officials around to see this." Meanwhile, murmurs began among the officials. "Heavens, Hak Chan Nian has come in person, so Lang hasn't arrived yet? Or maybe he doesn't dare to come. He's just a useless man, even with 10 lives, he wouldn't dare show himself." Tran Mak saw this and was extremely pleased, laughing quietly to herself. Suddenly, Lang walked in from outside, his voice ringing loud and clear. "Who said I don't dare come?" Everyone turned to see him enter. Whispered discussions arose. "That's the son of National Advisor Lang too. He's handsome, but his body is weak, he'll die young. This person relies on the Emperor's favor and is so disrespectful. A useless man daring to openly challenge, he's really courting death." Ignoring the gossip, Lang walked calmly forward, clasped his hands respectfully, and said to Yen Ni, "Your Majesty, sorry to have kept you waiting." Yen Ni stepped down from the high platform and gently took Lang's hand. Her voice softened, "Brother Lang too, no need for formalities. Rest a bit. We'll start soon." The old Hak Chan Neon, seeing the scene, clenched his teeth in anger. He deliberately spoke loudly, interrupting the couple in front of him. "Which powerful faction's holy son is even more formidable?" Old Tran Mak then spoke up, This is young Master Langto, son of the national advisor, just an ordinary person. Oi Hung Ba standing beside him chimed in, that's right. Not only ordinary, but a person with no spiritual roots. Tran Dim quickly rushed over, pressing her chest against Oi Hung Ba, and said in a grieving voice, Master, 2 years ago, he forced me to marry him. I refused, and he still tried to force me. Even now, I often have nightmares. You must seek justice for me. Hearing this, Langto angrily clenched his fist and retorted, Why are you still dragging this out? A few days ago, you barged into my national advisor's mansion acting almighty, didn't you? At Langto's words, the shameless master and disciple glared fiercely at him. Langto, unfazed, said with contempt, You, Wei Tuan and Tran Dim, both come at once. I need to hurry back for dinner. Wei Tuan grit his teeth angrily and snarled, Arrogant brat! I'm showing respect for the Emperor's face. If you kneel and admit your fault now, leave the imperial city, and never step foot here again, I might spare your life. Growing impatient, Langto turned his head, pouted, and immediately ascended the tower, challenging, Why are you so talkative? Wei Tuan, anger flaring, gathered strength in his legs and quickly ran up, intending to attack Langto from behind. But Langto had already anticipated this move and calmly waited for the right moment. Just as Wei Tuan leapt to strike Langto's back, he laughed cunningly, Then go and die. However, when his hand neared Langto's back, it suddenly froze in place. His entire hand was encased in ice. Langto stood with his back to Wei Tuan but was able to unleash an extreme cold true energy attack that froze Wei Tuan's entire body. Everyone was stunned by Langto's spiritual power. Oi Hung Ba exclaimed in confusion, Extreme cold origin energy? Isn't this the innate origin energy power only your majesty can wield? How does Langto possess such power? Tran Dim witnessed this and gasped, Your majesty really favors him. He's been given the extreme cold primordial energy. This battle was clearly unbalanced. Suddenly, Oi Hung Ba knelt down on both knees before Yen Ni, bowing respectfully. His voice was full of reproach as he said, Your Majesty, by doing this, you might as well be sentencing my son to death. Diha stroked his long beard under his chin, then looked at Tran Dim beside him. Langto is no ordinary person. He is a martial artist at the condensed true stage, perhaps even more powerful due to his innate primordial energy. Tran Dim bit her lip, hatred filling her face as she exclaimed, How is that possible? The entire imperial court knows he's just an ordinary person. How could he be a martial artist at the condensed true stage? Yen Ni remained silent, her eyes full of killing intent. A bunch of fools. You're truly ridiculous, she said coldly. She stood, watching Langto in the arena, and said, Do you really think Brother Lang's strength was bestowed by me? Meanwhile, in the arena, Wei Tuan was being frozen solid by Langto's cold energy. He struggled, trying to exert his spiritual power to break through the thick layer of ice and escape. When he finally burst free, shattering the ice, he shouted curses, You worthless piece of trash! Even if you've awakened the extreme cold primordial energy and can cultivate, so what? He pointed at Langto and sneered, In front of me, you're still just a novice. Langto's face remained emotionless as he looked at him indifferently. Wei Tuan waved his sleeve and spoke contemptuously, Looking at your realm, it seems you're only at the first stage of condensed true. It must be Her Majesty who forcibly elevated your level just now. I'll give you a chance to kneel and beg for mercy. As he finished speaking, he pointed a finger down at Langto with a smug expression. Langto didn't care at all. He scratched the tip of his nose and said, Why are you barking so much? Whose mad dog is this? Someone please take it back. Hearing this, Wei Tuan's blood boiled. His hands clenched into fists as he immediately raised his hand, channeling his power to unleash a technique. In an instant, a powerful force enveloped his body, glowing brightly. Wei Tuan sneered, A waste is always a waste. No matter what you do, You can't change that fact. Then, shouting loudly, he unleashed the heavenly tiger fist, launching the attack toward Langto with a challenging roar. Wei Tuan's spiritual energy transformed into a white tiger that roared fiercely as it charged forward. Langto looked at the white tiger before him and said, "My father was also an ordinary person, but he was the first imperial advisor of the Eastern Hall. Except for the Emperor's summons, the masses truly dared not disobey him. As his son, how could I let him lose face today? I will tell everyone in the world." As he spoke, Langto channeled his spiritual power, summoning a blue spiritual tiger. Behind him, Yenni stood watching the scene, her face showing extreme tension. Langto pointed forward and shouted loudly, "I, Langto, also command the armies of heaven and earth. Who dares not listen to the 8 wilderness in the vast sky?" Immediately, the 2 spiritual tigers roared fiercely and charged at each other. The officials below were all shocked, mouths agape. The heavenly tiger fist? How could he know the secret technique of General Wei's family? Langto's blue tiger was more powerful. It had already shattered Wei Tuan's white tiger and was charging straight at him. Wei Tuan was hit and tried to channel his power to defend himself, but he did not expect the perfect execution of the great heavenly tiger fist. "How does this brat know my family's martial arts?" He was pushed back several steps but managed to still hold his ground against Langto's attack. One hand clutching his stomach, the other trembling as he pointed at Langto, Wei Tuan shouted, "So what if you know the heavenly tiger fist? Try my heavenly wind kick." Langto laughed loudly. "Haha, bring it on. But in front of me, that's nothing more than child's play." "Well then, try my perfect level heavenly wind kick," Wei Tuan challenged. At that moment, Langto mirrored Wei Tuan's move perfectly, executing the exact same technique, but at a flawless, perfected level. The crowd below gasped in unison, "How is this possible?" Yenni, seeing the outcome was already decided, calmly returned to her seat. Though Wei Tuan was beaten black and blue, he still sneered arrogantly, "Very well, Langto, you've completely enraged me now. I was originally going to teach you a lesson out of respect for His Majesty, but now I'm going to kill you." One hand covered his face, the other exerting his cultivation power as he added in a proud tone, "Langto, with my 8th stage condensed true essence strength, dying by my hand would be a fortune for you." The crowd began to discuss heatedly. Langto using innate primordial energy is definitely stronger than normal, but his realm is too weak compared to young Master Wei. Oi Hung Ba and Tran Ma stood below, watching with shocked expressions. Another voice chimed in, "That's right. Young Master Wei is completely enraged. If Langto doesn't kneel and beg for forgiveness immediately, I'm afraid he won't escape death." Suddenly, beneath Langto's feet, a blue stream of cold spiritual energy emerged. Hak Chan Neon saw this and exclaimed in surprise, "Wait, that's..." Langto summoned energy vortexes in his palms that spread out to form a circular, heaven-shaking formation. The officials watching were stunned. "Condensed true essence, 3rd stage. No, 6th stage. Wait, 9th stage. He's actually at the 9th stage of condensed true essence." From afar, Yenni remained calmly seated in her high position, intently observing the tense battle in the arena. Her expression was secretly excited as she thought, "This time, Brother Langto has truly surprised many people." Wei Tuan on the stage was overwhelmed but still tried to appear arrogant as he shouted, "So what if it's 9th stage condensed true essence? Borrowed power is nothing impressive." He immediately rushed toward Langto, launching an attack. "Your strength is nothing before me. That was merely child's play." Langto stood firmly opposite him, smiling slightly as he watched. In an instant, he swiftly dodged to the side, avoiding Wei Tuan's punch. Then, Langto gathered momentum and threw a punch straight into Wei Tuan's dantian. Not stopping there, he followed up with an uppercut that sent Wei Tuan flying high, shattering his cultivation. Witnessing Langto's overwhelming strength, the officials below exclaimed in shock. It's truly unbelievable, Wei Tuan has been defeated. That last strike seems to have shattered young Master Wei's Dantian. Wei Tuan, covered in wounds, lay pitifully on the ground but still gritted his teeth and said, "You dare insult the Wei family? I won't let you off the hook." Langto calmly rotated his wrist and smiled coldly. "Your skills are weak, but your mouth sure is tough." As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand, unleashing freezing spirit energy to try to control his opponent. At that moment, Ling Sha decisively charged forward to attack Wei Yuzhen. Suddenly, Chun Chan rushed over, projecting powerful sword intent as she shouted loudly, "How dare you!" Yan Ni, sitting in her high seat, looked toward the arena, startled. "Sword intent? Brother Ling Sha, be careful of that vixen. If she dares to hurt him, I will definitely kill her." Ling Sha was also stunned by Chun Chan's strength. She had already comprehended sword intent, no wonder she was accepted as an outer disciple of the Liang sect. Chen Chan continued to unleash her sword intent, charging at Ling Sha with a fierce shout, "You waste! Go die!" Her attacks came fast and furious, bursting toward Ling Sha. Wei Zashan, standing on the platform, kept shouting loudly, "Chan, kill that trash! I want him dead!" As Chun Chan's attack pressed in, the enlightenment seed within Ling Sha's body immediately reacted. It helped him comprehend the celestial sword technique, starting from the foundation and gradually advancing. He comprehended one part, then 2 parts, then 3 parts. Contacting the normal sword intent, he comprehended 1 part, then 2 parts, and soon mastered it perfectly. Ling Sha then relaxed his body slightly, receiving each of Chun Chan's successive attacks with calm precision. Seeing Ling Sha powerless to resist, Chun Chan arrogantly shouted, "Ling Sha, you ungrateful brat! Today is the day you die." Wei Zashan, witnessing this, grew extremely excited and smugly said, "Hit him well." At that moment, Chun Chan raised her sword and began circulating her technique, displaying countless sword afterimages. She looked down at Ling Sha and said contemptuously, "To die under this move will be your honor." Then, she swung her sword and executed the 4-star sword technique, Heavenly Chaos Pursuit. Countless sword chi afterimages followed her command, gathering to form an enormous sword. Ling Sha sensed the overwhelming aura of the sword chi and couldn't help but sigh. Master He, watching below, stroked his beard with satisfaction and smiled, saying, "I didn't expect Chun Chan to have comprehended the final technique of the 4-star sword skill. This move alone is enough to threaten martial artists at the Blood Origin realm. That brat will surely die under this attack. Once she breaks through to the Blood Origin realm, becoming an inner disciple of the sect won't be a problem." Chen Imo, standing beside him, heard this and asked quietly, "Really? Chun Chan truly has the qualifications to enter the Inked Master?" "Master," he replied gently, "that depends on her abilities." Hearing this, Chun Imo quickly bowed his head and politely said, "Please guide us more, Elder." On the arena, after Chun Chan condensed the sword chi, she gritted her teeth and launched her killing move. Thousands of sword chi afterimages rushed straight toward Ling Sha. Yan Ni, watching from above, tensed up and thought, not good. With his current health, brother Ling Sha can't block this move. But Ling Sha, calm as ever, even showed a slight smile. "I've been waiting for this move of yours," he said. Immediately, Ling Sha circulated his technique, directly receiving the opponent's attack. Tran Dim saw that Langto was still able to resist and said with a hint of surprise, "Not finished yet." As she spoke, she concentrated all her power into a massive sword body and launched it toward Langto, shouting, "Die for me!" Langto smirked, then gently used his hand to indirectly block the killing move. Relying on his enlightenment seed, when the sword body touched him, Langto immediately comprehended the 4-star sword technique, Heavenly Chaos Pursuit. As he comprehended it, Langto exerted force and crushed Tran Dim's sword body. 1 part comprehended. 2 parts. 3 parts instantly. A loud explosion rang out, engulfing the entire arena in thick white smoke. The crowd below strained their eyes, unable to see what was happening above, and murmured among themselves in curiosity. What's going on up there on the arena? At that moment, Tran Dim was violently knocked back, screaming in pain. Suddenly, Wei Tuan-Th, who had somehow risen, quickly caught her and cursed angrily. Damn it! Lang Tu, standing calmly nearby, watched the struggle with a cold, mocking laugh. Ha ha! Sword intent, is it? Let me show you what real sword intent looks like, the 4-star sword technique. Heavenly Chaos Pursuit, fully comprehended. Hanren, watching below, widened his eyes in shock and shouted, Impossible! How does that brat know the Li Young Sect's sword technique? Still confused, Lang Tu raised his hand to the sky. With his enlightenment seed, he merged all the broken swords into one massive sword body. Perfectly comprehending the technique, he executed the Heavenly Chaos Pursuit with overwhelming power. Tran Dim and Wei Tuan-Th, witnessing this, were filled with terror. How does he know that move? Han Ren, sensing the danger, hurriedly shouted, Stop it! Enough, Lang Tu, stop right there. I'll give you a chance to join the Li Young Sect. I'll personally take you as my disciple. Lang Tu glanced down at Han Ren with contempt. Join the Li Young Sect? Take you as my master? Are you worthy? Without hesitation, Lang Tu unleashed the giant sword body, flying straight toward Tran Dim and Wei Tuan-Th. Seeing the powerful sword body rapidly approaching, Tran Dim panicked and shouted, Don't! I surrender! I give up! Her father, Tran Mak, shouted anxiously, Stop it, quickly! But all the pleas were useless. The massive sword body slammed down with violent force, pinning Tran Dim and Wei Tuan-Th beneath it. Yui Hungba, watching his son being brutally attacked, clenched his teeth in fury. Lang Tu, I want you dead! Gripping his weapon tightly, his whole body erupted with fiery spiritual power. Without hesitation, Yui Hungba charged fiercely toward Lang Tu, roaring, Dare to hurt my son? You'll pay with your life. Hanren sighed helplessly, watching the chaos unfold. It's over. Tran Dim has been crippled. Tran Mak's face twisted in horror. What? Why? Yui Hungba raised a long spear, summoning the phantom image of a fierce beast. Die for me, he roared. Yen Ni saw the worsening situation and quickly rushed toward the arena, shouting loudly, Lang Tu, brother! On this side! Just as Yui Hungba's spear was about to strike Lang Tu, suddenly everything stopped. Yui Hungba was shocked as, in a blink, many guards appeared atop the tower, weapons drawn, moving quickly to subdue him. Just then, from the main gate, a beautiful young woman appeared, her face blazing with anger. With a sharp voice, she shouted, Who dares to lay a hand on our young master? I want your entire family to pay with their lives. This fierce girl was Toi Lin Lung, the leader of the Lin Lung Trading Guild. Before anyone could react, the thunderous sound of hooves echoed as a figure on horseback came charging in at an incredible speed. The horse's hooves thundered past the main gate, and the rider urged it onward, galloping straight toward the arena. It was none other than Tai Tuesday, the Tiger Cavalry bodyguard of the Lin Lung Trading Guild. Amid the chaos of guards and officials, the powerful sound of the horse's landing filled the arena. Tai Tuesday pointed his spear directly at Yui Hungba and bellowed fiercely, Who dares to harm our young master? Do you think the Lang family has no defenders? Yen Ni immediately leapt forward, moving swiftly to Lang Tu's side, standing firm opposite Yui Hungba. Below the stage, all the civil and military officials were stunned, whispering in disbelief. This is going to get lively now. Tran Mak, standing in the crowd, was equally surprised. It's the Lin Lung Trading Guild, and even the Tiger Cavalry. When did they return to the capital? Then, boldly, he shouted, recklessly barging into the forbidden imperial palace. Who gave you permission? Your Majesty, Please order the Imperial Guards to arrest them for such lawlessness. This is a capital offense. Yen Ni, cold and unyielding, retorted sharply, Are you trying to teach me how to do my job? Toi Lin Lung and H Tai Tuesday exchanged a glance. At that moment, Yen Ni respectfully knelt and greeted, Greetings, Your Majesty. She then helped Toi Lin Lung up with kindness and said softly, Toi Lin Lung, your guild has just made a huge contribution to the Eastern Palace's treasury, donating a large amount of raw stones. Such generosity benefits the entire imperial court. From now on, when you meet me, there's no need to bow. Lang Tu quickly stepped forward, patting Lin Lung on the head. Your Majesty doesn't need to spoil them. But this etiquette should not be forgotten entirely. Still, a small reward is fitting, after all, not everyone is as capable as our Lin Lung. Yen Ni smiled brightly and replied, Indeed. The Lin Lung Trading Guild has single-handedly become the leading tycoon of the Eastern Palace, earning a fortune for us. They truly deserve our praise. At this, Toi Lin Lung blushed, shyly looking at Lang Tu after being praised and patted on the head. Yen Ni watched everything unfold with a flash of jealousy. That little vixen dares to seduce my brother, Lang Tu? Suddenly, a commanding voice drew everyone's attention. Han Neon soared high into the air, radiating a fierce spiritual energy as he shouted, Enough! Destroying my disciples' dantian and spiritual energy, you must answer to me. Lang Tu bowed respectfully and said, Out of respect for Her Majesty the Empress, I will give you a chance. Yen Ni's expression darkened at his words, ready to rush forward and confront the old man. But Ling Sha grabbed her arm, holding her back. The old crane immortal grew even more arrogant. Our Liang sect in the Guza region is a dominant power. Many Zen masters vie to join us, yet you speak arrogantly and refuse to join. Let's see how much courage you truly have. He furrowed his brows and unleashed a surge of cultivation energy, emitting an overwhelming aura that demanded submission. Under that pressure, Ling Sha dropped to one knee, gritting his teeth against the immense force. Yen Ni sensed the terrifying realm behind the aura and gasped, Yuan Lun realm!